What is going on in crypto right now? I feel like I'm saying this every few days now. I mean, what a crazy market we're in. Well, Bitcoin just hit 22,000 very briefly and is now sitting around $23,000. The entire crypto market, in fact, fell just below $1 trillion in total market cap very briefly, which is something we have not seen since 2020. And this recent drop is mainly a result of all the mess that's happening around Celsius right now. Celsius announced on Tuesday that it was suspending all withdrawals for customers and their crypto holdings, which has effectively trapped people's crypto on the platform and has caused even more panic. So what does this mean for you if you have money on Celsius? And what should you be doing right now? And what are the lessons that you can take away from this entire mess? Well, first, let's talk about what actually happened. If you don't know, Celsius is a platform that allows people to earn interest on their crypto and also be able to lend out or borrow against crypto. They have other product offerings, but that is the basics of the company known as Celsius. But most people just put their crypto on Celsius to earn a yearly return. Well, in the past few months, and especially the past few weeks and days, there's been various rumors and rumblings about Celsius kind of building up. And along with that, plenty of panic in the crypto market in general. So loads of people have actually started panicking and withdrawing their money from Celsius and other places, which has caused kind of a bank run on Celsius. People were withdrawing their crypto from Celsius and they didn't have the liquidity to meet all those requests. And by the way, if you appreciate me explaining all this stuff, well then hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Okay, so maybe the bigger question here isn't what happened, but why did this happen in the first place? Well, here are the basics. So you, as a person who wants to earn interest on, let's say, your Ethereum, you send your Ethereum to Celsius to earn a yield. Now, to deliver that promised yield, Celsius takes your Ethereum and does a few things with it. One of the things that they do with it is they send some of it to Lido Finance to stake it. When you stake your Ethereum on Lido, they give you back ST-ETH. It's kind of a voucher to say, hey, we're holding your Ethereum. Here is your voucher worth 1-to-1 with your Ethereum. And the reason they do that is that they can then take the underlying Ethereum and use it elsewhere to get additional yield. Now, the problem on the Celsius end of things in this equation is when customers in mass request their Ethereum withdrawals. Celsius then has to swap the ST-ETH back for Ethereum. And that's one, a lengthy process, but two, there's liquidity issues there. In fact, it would be nearly impossible for Celsius to swap every single ST-ETH position has for Ethereum due to liquidity issues. Because of limitations with liquidity, the only way Celsius could do that in mass is by doing some form of an over-the-counter deal and bypassing exchanges. And on top of that, to make matters even worse, since ST-ETH is kind of a voucher for Ethereum, ST-ETH has actually lost its peg with Ethereum. It's supposed to have a 1-to-1 with Ethereum, but for the second time ever in its history, it has lost that peg. So both of these factors together means Celsius has been unable to fulfill its withdrawal requests and subsequently decided to shut down withdrawals in general and put a freeze on everyone's accounts until they can get a handle on it. But there have also been other issues in recent history, like the fact that Celsius had exposure to US Terracoin to the tune of $500 million of customer funds. And if you don't know the end of that story, UST is worth 1 cent now when it's supposed to be worth $1 per coin. So more or less that money has evaporated. Now maybe Celsius had reserves to cover that, but maybe not. We don't know. We don't have any transparency into that yet. And again, this is just what we know at this stage. Who knows what's actually going on behind the curtains? Some are suggesting that Celsius might not actually even have the money to fulfill all these withdrawal requests. In fact, some have even suggested that Celsius in the past year or so has faced other times of insolvency, meaning it's been unable to pay all of its debts. And in fact, it's required bailouts from investors in the past to do so. But one, some of that seems like it's speculation. There's still stuff coming out and there's still future reports and announcements from Celsius to be made, so we can't fully know until that stuff happens. And two, really only time will tell what's going to happen next with them and whether or not this whole withdrawal shutdown is truly a safety measure or if they can't actually pay all the customers back. Which leads me to my next question of what does that mean for you if you are somebody who has money on Celsius? Well, unfortunately right now, if you have money on Celsius, the only thing you really can do is wait. There's yet to be announced any kind of timeline for when withdrawals will be reopened. If or when withdrawals are finally opened back up again, in my opinion, I believe that there will be a run on those withdrawals. Now, I'm not trying to worry you or panic anybody, but if you have an amount of money on Celsius that is very scary for you to lose, one, maybe there's a lesson in there, but two, if they do open up withdrawals again, you might consider getting it off the platform as soon as possible. And not just getting it off the platform, but maybe even getting it to wallets that you personally control instead of a third party. And the reason I say this is because, in my opinion, when there's a panic to get control of your money again and withdraw it, there's probably also, especially in this environment we're currently in, there's going to be a panic to sell that stuff as soon as possible. And the reason for that is that people are currently watching prices plummet while having no control over their money if it's being held in Celsius. So naturally, they're going to be worried they're going to lose even more money. So the moment those withdrawals are turned on, they might think, I'm going to get my money out as soon as possible and sell it before it goes down any further. Now, I'm not by any means advocating that you do that or you should do that. I'm just suggesting that that could happen next. And I'm telling you that so you can prepare yourself in case that does happen, whether that means you're going to sell yourself or hold and just watch it happen. The reality is that people can hate on banks, and I don't personally love banks myself. But this is really kind of the cost of entering this unregulated world of money. It truly is the Wild West, and it's not always sunshine and rainbows. But like I always say, I'm just a guy on the internet. Don't listen to me. Read threads on Twitter, hop onto the news articles, inform yourself and make your own opinion on what's going on with Celsius. So what's the lesson we can take away from this whole mess? Well, I think it's a very similar lesson to what we could have learned from the Anchor protocol and Terra Luna /UST debacle. And that lesson is, don't have all your eggs in one basket. Yes, it's convenient, but it can also be disastrous. I'm a huge advocate of not having all your money in one place, where that one place could completely wreck your entire portfolio. If you really want to earn a yield with coins that are just sitting there with one of these types of services, well, instead of having it all in one place, maybe have it spread across quite a few different interest-bearing accounts. Or just use a small percentage of your overall portfolio in these positions and then have the vast majority of it offline or in your own controlled wallets. In fact, that is my strategy. 95% of my crypto is in my own controlled wallets and not with these third-party exchanges or companies. So the next natural question is, what about other companies? What about like the Nexos or the Voyagers, the BlockFis of the world? Is this going to happen with those companies too? Well, the short answer is maybe. I don't know. There's no possible way to know. The long answer is, for some of them, I don't think so, or at least I have a lot of confidence that this won't happen, this exact thing won't happen with them. Voyager, for example, is one that I really do like, but I feel like is very different with how they operate than Celsius. Voyager is a public company with audited financials, and all of their assets are very over-collateralized. Not only that, but any USD you hold on Voyager is, in fact, FDIC insured, and they have zero exposure to ST ETH. So take that for whatever it's worth. Companies like Voyager are not immune or exempt from stuff like this. It can happen to anyone. All that's required is the right market conditions to work against whatever positions they have. But with Voyager, for example, I do think it's less likely. But again, plenty of other options out there. You should do your own research on these. As for me, I'm just going to keep building more and more income sources and continue to invest as much as I possibly can through this period. And if investing sounds good to you, then watch this video where I show you where you can invest $10,000 into crypto passive income sources. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Stay safe out there. Goodbye.